Friday, February 4th. Friday, February 4th of 2022. The Pro Bowl hasn't even happened yet. And here we are, a bunch of sick fish, a bunch of sickos, a bunch of degenerates, best ball fiends, excited to draft 2022 NFL best ball teams. But I'm excited too. The big board draft is a really fun big board tournament. It's a really fun tournament that I'm excited for. I'm really excited for the future of best ball in general, but these kind of siloed tournaments are really fun, right? Obviously, we all have the itch to draft all year. We're excited. There's new rookies, there's free agents, and these tournaments are really fun because it's all done before the NFL draft. So we're all drafting in the same place. There's a lot of different strategy around Best Ball Mania and all these other tournaments that last for the entire summer for the regular season. This one is particularly fascinating because we're all working off of zero information, really, right? We're not going to know where so many of the players in the player pool are being drafted, are going to end up. See, my brain is already in draft mode, thinking about where players are getting drafted, but there's so many rookies. We don't know where they're going to land, right? Values are going to shift wildly. Last year, you could have got Kyle Pitts in like the 9th round of these drafts, and there's so many interesting variables. So I'm really excited to start drafting these. And today we're going to get our first one on Spike Week. Let's get it. I promise you, Chris, I don't hate the Eastern time zone. It's a tricky balance trying to figure out when to do, especially on Fridays. Fridays are especially difficult. But I do work for a DFS company, and so there is a little bit of trying to fit in, or like NBA DFS lock and fitting in the time where everybody can make it. It's honestly, this is, if you want to know about first world problems, this is one of the most difficult or perplexing things about my job, is figuring out exactly when to schedule certain things. Sometimes evenings work for people. Sometimes evenings don't work for people. Sometimes people want mornings. Sometimes they want lunchtime. I've kind of settled into this fairly late afternoon time. I know it's not necessarily always the most perfect for everybody, especially on the East Coast, but it works for me, and I'm in the Central time zone, so you guys can suck it. Silas says, but speaking of, really quick, before we'll get into a draft in a second, or we'll hop in pretty quick because it takes 20 rounds, takes a little while. Silas says the tournament is 11% filled already, which is pretty crazy for a couple of days. But also, shout out to Silas. If you didn't see the video that Shane Newman, who's doing some work for us at Spike Week, put together we did a draft last Friday, a 2022 draft. The big board had not come out yet. So we were just diving into a 2022 draft, trying to kind of feel out ADPs. It was one of the first ones that I had done. I think I drafted Tom Brady. Actually, I did draft Tom Brady on that stream. So obviously that team is dead. Congratulations. As everyone knows, it is plus EV to draft with streamers. I made that apparently clear last Friday. But Silas was in the draft. Silas is doing some great work for us at Spike Week, an awesome article series he is working on, but he sniped me multiple times, and Shane put together a really funny video Go to the Spike Week Twitter at Spike Week on Twitter of me being distraught over missing out on Daniel Jones, which is the perfect synopsis of how fucking sad this existence is. That I was like legitimately mad at Silas for sniping me on Daniel Jones it was in January. I didn't get Daniel Jones in a best ball draft, and I was like shook. You could see it on my face and in the tone of my voice. I was shook. It is a really, really sad life that I live. But I'm sitting here just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, and there's a foot of snow on the ground outside. I'm basically blocked in. They haven't plowed my neighborhood yet. I did go outside and not touch some grass, but I touched some snow. The wife had me shovel the driveway this morning, and boy, I'm not in very good shape because that was rough. I was winded after shoveling the driveway, and then because she needed to leave the house this afternoon, she had an appointment, and of course the appointment gets canceled. So I shoveled the driveway for nothing, but it got me off to a good start today. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good this afternoon. Ready to how will I recover? Great question. I'm getting old. This is true, Paul. Pretty much I want to make sure Paul gets in every draft that every streamer of all time has ever done. That's the thing that I've picked up on. Like, I actually don't watch a ton of the other streamers' content live. I do watch a good bit after the fact, and I'll always watch it after. And I'm like, yep, there's Paul. I was inverted in the draft. So I'm trying to make sure that can be the case for Spike Week streams as well. And just a couple of housekeeping things. As Rob here says at King Coakley, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Rob is giving away some signed jerseys. So if you are subscribed to this YouTube channel and to his Hometown Ghost Stories, Rob, correct me in the chat if I'm misspeaking, but Hometown Ghost Stories. Once we hit some milestones on some subscribers for both of those YouTube channels, Rob is going to give away some pretty sweet. In particular, he has a nice Tua autographed jersey that I would want, and I might replace the green screen if that were true, if I got that one. But yeah, like and subscribe. Other thing, I'm as soon as we get done with this, I'm gonna have 2022 rankings up on spikeweek.com. Go to spikeweek.com. We got a ton of stuff that's piling in over there. If you're interested at all in like the snake drafts that they have on there, so not even just best ball, right? But like they have every single day they have contests giving away $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to first place in NBA. If you're interested in NBA, we have NBA rankings driven by RotoGrinders projections that kind of crush it. That's all I do is use our rankings and draft teams every single day on there for NBA. We'll be doing the same for MLB. There's obviously they have NFL draft, weekly draft contests. And so there's a ton of good content around that every single day. Like I said, Silas has an awesome like review series. He's already recapped Best Ball Mania 2, which was great. He's recapped the AFC East. He's recapping the NFC East coming out tonight probably. And he's going to do just basically reviewing every single team and then projecting them forward, which is really useful for these drafts. And then the other thing is that I got a rookie rankings table up on the website. So I watch a lot of college football. I listen to a lot of people much, much, much smarter than I about prospects and stuff. So I feel fairly comfortable in the rookies that are in this draft class. But if you're showing up to these drafts and like you don't even know who Jameson Williams is, we got you. My and our rookie rankings are up on spikeweek.com. Go to NFL and look in the drop down and you'll find those. I talked about last week, we have the depth charts. So if you want to like review the situations of every team when we pull out the free agents, the depth charts are on there as well. Again, under NFL. So you can see, like, my favorite one to look at is you go look at the Bears. They have Darnell Mooney and Daz Newsome at wide receiver coming back. Everybody else is a free agent. They literally have to sign several wide receivers just to fill out the team. And so got that for every single team. And then I'm going to put out a free agent kind of list. Probably some form of rankings. I don't have it done yet. But anyway, tons of stuff. Tons and tons and tons of stuff is coming out. Go to spikeweek.com. Also, make sure you join the Discord. The Discord is unbelievable. Seriously unbelievable. The conversation today, like I said, it's February 4th. The conversation today in the Spike Week Discord around like draft strategy, player takes, everything is seriously awesome. It's like I learn every single day. I learn something from the people in the Discord, and the kind of debate back and forth, the conversation, everything is awesome. All right. Housekeeping. We're done. That was enough. Housekeeping. Let me share my screen. And we can get into what you guys came here for. Certainly was not to hear me rant. It was to get into a big board draft. Let's do it. 4, 3 more. 2, 1, full. Yeah, so Hometown Ghost Stories, there it is for Rob. I listened to a bunch of them. Oh, baby, Influencer 101. That's fun. I don't think I've had the 101. I've only done, I think, 6 big board drafts. And I haven't had the 101 yet. Influencer 101. Shout out Tony, winner of the DraftKings Millie Maker this year. He will probably be taking Najee because Najee won him $1 million. But I can assure you, I'm actually not super. Like I said, I'm finishing up the rankings that are going to be posted to the site a little later, and I'm maybe even a little high. I'm about at consensus, I think, maybe on Najee. So I'm obviously taking JT. I do actually think it's the most wide open 101 we have had. Maybe ever. Certainly in recent memory that I can for sure remember. CMC, the most interesting thing. So you saw that CMC was the cover boy, if you will. He's on the thumbnail. And I think now he goes 102 here to Ketchup Steen, which is I think CJ. I don't know how to say your last name, CJ, but awesome grinder. Shout out to CJ. And correctly taking CMC at the 102, in my opinion. But I do think there's basically 3 guys that you could make a case for at the 101 between obviously JT, who I took, CMC, who again made him the cover boy because not really anything has changed for Christian McCaffrey. He's gotten a little older, and yes, the injuries have kind of stacked up on him. And honestly, my only real concern with CMC is like the coaching situation. Matt Rule, I'm totally out on Matt Rule. I'm done with Matt Rule. And they brought in Ben McAdoo. They fired Joe Brady and brought in Ben McAdoo as the offensive coordinator. Obviously, they also need a quarterback upgrade. The quarterback upgrade is like whatever for CMC, but ideally for his upside, you want a quarterback upgrade. But if we remove the coaching takes, nothing has changed for Christian McCaffrey. And he was the absolute slam dunk consensus, no questions asked 101 last year. And I love JT, but and I'm going to take JT 101 every time I get 101. I'm pretty sure I will take, again, it's February 4th, but I will take JT 101 because that's the only place he's going to be the consensus 101. So if you want to have any JT in your portfolio, you have to take him at the 101. But I think like last year, it was like you get the 101, it doesn't matter. You take CMC, you don't even think twice about it. This year, I think JT, CMC, and my third guy was Cooper Kupp. Running back is really like those top end guys. Every year it gets worse. And the fact that there's not a running back that is just a guy that you're like zero questions asked, he's the 101, like last year with CMC, makes me like, I think Cooper Kupp probably regresses or whatever next year. But I mean, assuming health, you're going to feel totally like perfectly fine with Cooper Kupp. All right, so I'm queuing up DK Metcalf. You will see in my rankings, I am very, very high on DK Metcalf. And I'm going to stick to the rankings where I believe that I have. Yeah, I have T just over Waddle. And so I'm going to take T. I think Waddle is a guy I'm not going to have zero of in 2022 for sure. I love him as a real life football player. I loved him at Alabama. He's a really exciting young player. But I think this is a really lofty price for Jalen Waddle. And I'm not sure that there's really a difference between him and a T. Higgins type of a player, or if you preferred, we have here DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen just went. Some of these running backs, the Pitts ADP, I hate you guys. The Pitts ADP has gotten crazy. Waddle is a guy I'm going to think. Is it really? Sorry, for the audio listeners, Rob just said, why is my name showing up as someone else's on your screen? I didn't notice that. Shows you how much I pay attention to you, Rob. But anyway, Waddle is a guy I think we'll have to have some really good discussions on this show because, I mean, as a rookie to come in and demand those amount of targets and have that kind of season, obviously that's somebody we should be interested in. However, what he did was like entirely volume based, right? The ADOT was unbelievably low. All of his teammates got hurt. And I just have natural concerns when we're buying a guy because he caught 1 million 5-yard passes. Even when he's as young and exciting as Jalen Waddle. This is true. Ethan, Pitts ADP can never be crazy. I agree. It was unfortunate, though, just the very first draft, literally the very first 2022 draft I did. I got Pitts in like the middle of the 4th round or something. And now that is definitely not possible. As Paul V says, this is the weirdest YouTube group ever. In the chat on any stream I ever do for the last however many months, there's other Erics and there's like 1 million Pauls. That's it. It's all Pauls. Apparently, that's just what Spike Week draws in, is only Erics and only Pauls. And there's Eric Lindbergh is here in the chat. He's Eric with the C, but I think there was another Eric with a K, which is very rare. Just weird. This is just weird stuff. Confirmed simulation. However, Paul says, did you know Pitts only scored 1 touchdown last season? How many times, set an over-under, how many times do you think the fact that Pitts only scored 1 touchdown last year gets thrown out over the course of the next 7 months or whatever before the season starts? Son of a bitch. There's another Eric in here. Eric Gilbert. Sorry if you've been here before and commented. I apologize if I have missed it, but I think I recognize most of the other Erics, and I don't recognize Eric Gilbert. And Eric Gilbert is now in the chat saying Eric spelled E-R-I-C, greater than sign Eric spelled E-R-I-K. So I was a click away from banning you from the YouTube chat. So I hope you're happy. Joking, obviously. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see. John Carlson says Ridley over Waddle and Higgins. I'm actually, again, you'll see, I'm not going to give away all the rankings goodness. You'll see I'm definitely higher than market on Calvin Ridley. Part of the difficulty with like doing rankings, and no, I do not want to enter autopilot mode, Underdog. Part of the, no, fuck. Pardon my French. There goes Ridley. Yep. I was literally just about to play it up to the chat here with Ridley. And oh boy. Hold on. Oh, I gotta stick to the brand here with for sure Elijah Moore and I think ETN. Yeah. But I'm definitely higher. I mean, Calvin Ridley should not be a late 4th round pick. Point blank period. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever. Soon, Alex. I like this take from David. Pitts only scored 1 TD. Will be this year's in a vacuum. Or just pick a meme, right? 3 uncorrelated tournaments. That's Pitts. Pitts only scored one touchdown. Also, I would not put this past you. Paul says all the other Pauls are his burners. Would I really be surprised? No. Not really. Another good point by Tony says that Waddle has a new coaching staff also, which is true. The old coaching staff is what created this volume monster. And like, clearly we're not concerned about Jalen Waddle, the player, but like when you're drafting at the two, this isn't a 10th round discussion. This is a 2-3 turn discussion. And so when you start to stack up things that could go against him, particularly right now, right? I can't imagine that they want to go in with the same offense next year. It clearly had some issues and they need to bring in some other weaponry. Obviously the Fuller thing didn't work. Devontae Parker is just whatever. Gesicki is a free agent. So there's concerns, I think. Silas mentions, we were talking about Cooper Kupp earlier, and I did sort of mention this, but I think it's important to bring up. Like, is there any concern it'll be hard for Kupp to replicate? 1,000,000%. My expectation is that he absolutely regresses. But Devontae Adams regressed from the year before, right? That's just what happens with wide receivers. But like, we're still talking about the floor of that is so high that you'll like, assuming health, you'll never be upset that Cooper Kupp is on your team. With running backs, that's not always the case, right? They just get hurt so frequently, or when a running back regresses, it's like they're a stone cold bust. Like whether it's regression just from a statistical standpoint or they're regressing, through unfortunate injury luck, which obviously happens a little more frequently. So, yes, Chaos says, we've already started. I've engaged probably too much in some of the rookie debates, maybe a little bit of shit talking on Twitter, whatever, but Chaos says breaking out Drake London basketball highlights will be the new roll to clip for Visca. If you haven't seen, go to YouTube. If you haven't seen the Drake London basketball highlights, just look him up. He played basketball at USC as well, and then realized quickly that his future was as a first-round pick wide receiver. But he is nasty. Have some concerns. Dwayne McFarland from PFF replied to me on Twitter with some concerns about Drake London's ability kind of against man coverage, basically. And that's definitely a concern that I have. So I'm actually I never thought I would be, but I'm actually kind of bullish on Darnell Mooney. So I take Darnell Mooney and Dallas Goedert there at the 6-7 turn, which gives me Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Dallas Goedert. So Goddard is a guy I will probably end up being part of what maybe steams him up. I don't know. I sometimes have influence and then sometimes don't have influence. But Dallas Goedert, like I just don't even really understand why Dallas Goedert goes after TJ Hawkinson. And I definitely don't understand why Dallas Goedert is a 7th or 8th round pick. I think that's egregious. And I'm going to keep buying. I'm going to keep buying Dallas Goedert. Darnell Mooney is a guy that I didn't necessarily expect to come in liking at a 6th or 7th round cost. I mean, it's Darnell Mooney. But man, when you look back at last year, his ability to earn massive target shares and not be just kind of the deep threat guy. I mean, I think he's a really good football player. And I actually want to buy in on the Bears. I want to buy in on Justin Fields. I think they're going to make upgrades. You have Cole Kmet as a later round tight end. And I think Darnell Mooney is just a legitimately good upside wide receiver. And so, like I said, never thought I would be talking about Darnell Mooney as a 6-7 turn pick and like not hating myself for it, but here we are. I am so confused. Ridley on the Bears would be fun. Fields, Ridley, Mooney, Kmet. That would be fun. Yeah. David says, as you say, with Mooney, the Bears have nobody else and he is legit good. I mean, the Bears are the situation that could change the most, right? Because they only have 2 wide receivers even signed to the roster. So they have to physically bring people in. Are they going to bring in, like Rob says, are they going to bring in, a Calvin Ridley type, a Will Fuller? Are they going to bring back a Rob? Are they going to bring in a really good, there's a lot of free agent wide receivers. They're going to bring in like a really high end one. Are they going to bring in some lower tier ones, which you kind of want something in the middle for Mooney. You want good, competent players with him, but you don't want like Calvin Ridley to take away all that. Unless like Calvin Ridley takes the offense to the next level. We're really playing mental gymnastics here, but it's one of the most interesting situations for this offseason. Yeah, this too. Travis says that there's a good chance that Nagy was legit bad. Yeah, that is a fact. God damn it. Where did Lance go? Boy, the Lance steam is going to be out of control. Silas took Lance. Of course, Silas took Lance. Let's see here. I don't want to go quarterback yet, and my God, this is a wide receiver room. I'm definitely going to take Cortland Sutton. Oof. All right, Sutton, Miles Sanders. I'm actually, I don't totally understand the Miles Sanders ADP. He'll be back. The offense should at least be the same that it was. In terms of production, they were clearly a run-heavy offense with Jalen Hurts at the helm. Let me just look it up really quick. Go to Pro Football Reference. Pull up Miles Sanders. We're talking about a running back that averaged 5.5 yards per carry. Only played 12 games due to injury. 5.5 yards per carry. Caught 26 balls, had 34 targets. But even worse than Kyle Pitts, which people aren't going to mention this about Miles Sanders. It'll be a meme about Kyle Pitts and touchdowns, but no one's going to say anything about Miles Sanders. He scored zero touchdowns. He averaged 5.5 yards per carry and played in the passing. He caught 26 balls in 12 games. It's not like amazing, but that's fine. He just didn't score any touchdowns. What has changed? Nothing has changed for Miles Sanders. Why did he go from a 4th round pick to a 9th round pick? I really don't understand. I think this is reasonable too. Alex says, I feel like that offense will continue to grow as Hurts continues to get a feel and continues to grow. Hurts could suck. We could get into next year and they could decide to be done with Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts' rushing is good for Miles Sanders. The offensive line is good. And the offense can't really get worse, I don't think. Jalen Reagor is absolutely fucking horrible. They can't possibly get worse from kind of the skill group that they had and everything. Dallas Goedert playing more is better. Devontae Smith in the second year. I don't know. Miles Sanders seems like one of the best running back values on the board to me. Lundar asks, we were talking about the Bears. Do you think Khalil Herbert earned more of a role? Yes and no. It'll be partly a coaching staff thing, right? Every coaching staff does different things with their running backs. Nagy became closer to more of a workhorse guy. Montgomery became a 70 to 80%, or more snap share type of back. But I think Khalil Herbert is. What's the difference between Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery? I'm sure David Montgomery has a few things just from being a veteran over him. But yeah, I think, if the next coaching staff wants to use multiple running backs, I think Khalil Herbert's a really good pick in these. So please don't snipe me, bro. I like this take. Ethan says the late RB dead zone is kind of popping. It's like once you get past the 6th round, 7th round, probably like the 7th round, it's like these guys are kind of nice. Like I kind of like these guys. Like I kind of like Miles Sanders. Let's scroll back. I should have had the board up. I apologize. I kind of like Miles Sanders. I like Ramondre. I like Tony Pollard. I like, I have my concerns about Rashad Penny, just like everybody else does. But like, if Rashad Penny's going to go in the 9th round, this is definitely true. Dave says late RB dead zone are the prime, equals prime candidates. Did all my QBs go? Son of a bitch. Well, that sucks. That sucks. Boy, I hate everyone that's available here. I'll take Jacoby Myers. Don't love that, but that's okay. You missed your pick. Oh, there we go. I'm going to reach a little bit on one of my favorite, if not my favorite, rookie running back, Kyren Williams. If you go to those rookie rankings that I mentioned at the top during kind of our housekeeping section, you'll see that Kyren Williams is my number 3 overall rookie running back. I think if I were to pick a running back in this class that was honestly the most complete and the most fit the NFL game, I think it's Kyren Williams. Good run, totally fine runner, but amazing in the passing game. Probably the best aspect of his game is in the passing game. He's really explosive, he's really elusive, and he's a great receiver. And so I'm, it's just like every rookie, it's going to be landing spot dependent, but I'm pretty excited for Kyren Williams. He's also from St. Louis. Maybe some bias, but yeah, Paul V. One of the many Pauls. Never too late to stack the Jets and Patriots. That is true. That is true. You could kind of throw the Giants in there. What? Yeah, that's about it though. Giants. I guess maybe Browns. Maybe Browns. Giants, Browns. Little backdoor Jared Goff, Quintez Cephas stack is available to you late, but it's pretty gross. I really liked it. One thing that I have thought about after doing not that many of these, but a fair bit of these is Justin Fields is kind of like my cutoff. I'm happy to be burned by Deshaun Watson, but I think the Deshaun Watson ADP is just absolutely egregious for a guy in his, circumstance. And so I'm not particularly interested in Deshaun Watson. I understand the upside and all that stuff, but maybe it's my, the human in me coming out. But I don't love the Deshaun Watson ADP. So there's this cutoff after Fields where what's really the difference between Kirk Cousins and any of these guys? And Cousins is one of the next guys, Derek Carr, those kind of quarterbacks. And so, I think this is a really good comp, by the way. And Tony says, I think Zach Wilson has a good sophomore year. I'm happy to invest in Zach Wilson, the 2022 Giants, as Ethan points out. Here we go. Rob says, I'm convinced Spine4's favorite team is the Giants. I think I was underweight every single Giant in the player pool last year. I was so out on the Joe Judge Giants, but I am admittedly a total sucker for really, really smart, forward-thinking head coaches like Brian Daboll. And so, I'm going to be that fish, hook, line, and sinker, 100%. I do need a quarterback. And it's tough scenes out here. I don't want to. Ketchup Stain has 2 quarterbacks, so I feel kind of okay saying this. Am I crazy that Tannehill's a pretty good value? Is that crazy? It doesn't seem crazy. What running backs? So I have JT, Travis Etienne, Miles Sanders, and Kyren Williams. Okay, I kind of like a Gus Edwards or someone like that here, but I really need to hit wide receiver after I take Tannehill, and then I really like Robbie at this cost, Robbie Anderson. So the other thing you'll see, which has been kind of a hot button issue, particularly in the Spike Week Discord, again, 100% free Discord with best ball and really just fantasy. It's really just fantasy football talk, but a lot of best ball focused talk, 24/7, 365. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. It's crazy. So, I take Tannehill. I don't have AJ Brown. I don't have Julio Jones. I don't have any form of Titan stack. I am not forcing any form of a stack in these, just because obviously there's no real way to know exactly who is going to be on what team and what stacks we really even want to get. So I'm just kind of taking the not best available player, because I hate that phraseology, but you're just constructing a team as the draft unfolds to you. And sometimes that will be stacked. I literally did a draft earlier today where I had a Burrow. I stacked Burrow and someone else. Multiple of my teams have stacks. When it makes sense, you absolutely target it. But this draft obviously has not, unless I had reached earlier on a quarterback I could have taken Fields early. I wanted to kind of push it and see if you guys would let me get Fields at a value, which certainly was very, very unlikely to happen. But I was willing to push that. And now you just kind of figure out the team. And if you don't have a stack, you don't have a stack. This contest is so different. The big board is so different from basically every single other best ball tournament that exists. If you have not, by the way, signed up for Underdog, which I imagine that every single one of you that is watching this, that has ever watched any of the Spike Week content, you have probably already signed up for Spike Week. But if you have not, go to Underdog and you use promo code SPIKE and you will get, I believe the promo is still free $25. The promo changes. Yeah, little peek behind the curtain. It's honestly not that easy to keep track of. But you'll get some free stuff, as always, with promo code SPIKE. This is such a bad take, Rob. If you missed it, Rob and I started just a weekly football show where we talk about the latest news and everything in the world of the NFL. And we also spin it to the fantasy football space and the best ball space, whatever. And Rob did a great segment on kind of as it stands right now, what's your level of investment into every offense? And we started with the NFC. And so next week, we're going to do the AFC. It was honestly a really good thought experiment. I'm happy that he did it. It has made me, it has helped me in my off-season process. And I'm also excited to see what happens with the evolution of our takes on all of these offenses. However, this take on depends where Tannehill plays next year is egregious. Truly egregious. I might polish up my running backs here. I need to look at these other positions. So let's just cue some people. Oh, Giants. Oh yeah. Never mind. I'm not polishing up running back. Oops. We're gonna hit this Giant stack. Easy game. Don't have the Titan stack, but now we got the Giant stack. Just to piss Rob off. Brian Daboll season. I can't wait till they get a new quarterback. And my Daniel Jones teams are literally stone dust. And I go back to back. I'll have like heavy Daniel Jones exposure this year, similar to like what I did with Trey Lance. And I'll go back to back on quarterbacks that sit the bench the whole year. When like Daboll brings in, you'll also see in my rankings, I'm kind of high on Mitch Trubisky. I think he gets a starting NFL job this year. But like when Daboll brings in Mitch to be his starter over Daniel Jones, and I have 20% Daniel Jones, that'll be a very fitting start to the 2022 draft season. Silas says Giants have no money. I'm sure they could figure out a way to make it work. Somebody probably take Jones, trade Jones, sign Mitch will be really cheap. But obviously, I don't know. You know, that's I don't actually think that that's going to happen. But with my luck, that's exactly what will happen. Similar to my luck with Silas sniping me on every player that I like. He took my Daniel Jones from me last draft. And today, Trey Lance. You'll also, again, teasing the rankings too much. It's not like I'm not a rankings czar, but you will see in the rankings that come out I'm pushing the envelope on Trey Lance. I'm in. I'm back in, and it's certainly possible that I am blinded by my Trey Lance takes of the past, but I think the upside is just seriously outrageous, and honestly, the floor is so good that it's hard for me to fathom drafting Trey Lance he's going to get steamed up. That's just how it goes. But even when he gets steamed up, I'm trying to envision a scenario in which, from a fantasy perspective, this is not a real life football take. From a fantasy perspective, I'm trying to envision a scenario in which having Trey Lance on your team, you are like mad halfway through the year. Not talking about injury, not talking about real life football. Your fantasy team, how, like, someone paint me that picture, because I can't see it. Yeah, this is Paul says he'll be around pick 50 by June. I don't even think that's it's obviously a little bit of hyperbole, but how much? I'll just go ahead and give it away. Eric says more aggro than Hayden's QB8 rank. Yes. He's higher than my QB8. That's all I'll say. He is over guys that you will not think he should be over, I'm sure. Trey Lance, 5th round ADP. Thanks, Spine 4. The other Paul, there's the amount of Pauls and Erics. The chat is literally just Paul and Eric comments and a little bit of Silas. And I try to ignore Silas's because he snipes me every other pick. Kidding. All right. 16-17 turn. There, Eric Hove. Here we go. Eric with a K checking into the chat. One of the real Erics. I do have to decide, in the next little bit, if I'm going to make this a 3 QB team. I can add on one of the rookies or something like that. 193. Did somebody take McBride? Oh, of course you did. All right. I was planning on Trey McBride at this pick. So now you're gonna see me totally scramble here. I don't really actually like Brian Robinson particularly as a prospect, but I think I'll round out my running backs with those couple of rookies. I'm gonna wait. I think definitely still a KJ Hamler fan. Yeah, let's do KJ Hamler. I actually don't think I've taken KJ Hamler in the big board yet. Yeah, this is funny. If David in the chat and Rob in the chat and Chris in the chat, and you're all the only one of your name, and there's like 6 Erics and 5 Pauls. Explain that one to me. Yeah, David says starting with Tannehill and Daniel Jones equals 3 QB for sure. And I tend to agree. This is the thing. I haven't I'm definitely going to write and stream about the move to 20 rounds. I think there's a lot of edges we can exploit in the 20 round drafts. And actually not going 3 quarterback, I think has the potential to be a really, really big edge in these drafts. However, I do think when you get locked out of quarterback, the third one makes sense. But that's a subject I think is really important, and one I'm really going to think long and hard about and experiment with, and definitely going to be a big one with Underdog moving to 20 rounds. Because this is the assumption, is like if I don't get an elite quarterback, I'm going to go 3 shitty ones. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I am saying there's more thought that should go into it than just like that's my auto assumption. Because if you think about it, if Daniel Jones ends up being, he's the quarterback of a Brian Daboll offense. If the Giants take a step, which no one, certainly not Rob in the chat, like agrees with or thinks is going to happen. But if it does, and you take, one of these super late, low upside third quarterbacks just to help you with the floor, you wasted that pick. And you could, especially in this, where there's so much unknown in the big board, like you could have, there's going to be late round guys, not 20th round guys that just are elite fantasy picks in this. And so I think it's just a subject that deserves a lot of attention, in my opinion, this offseason. Yeah, I like this. I like this take in general. Ethan says, I think once depth charts are solidified, 3 late QB is pretty strong. I think so too. It's a little obviously trickier right now because we don't even know where the rookies are going to land. We don't know about like quarterback is way more wide open this year than in years past. And so it's a very, very tricky proposition. Chris says, imagine drafting Brian Robinson over Dameon Pierce. I think I have them right next to each other in my rankings. Like I said, I actually don't really love Brian Robinson, but I think the NFL bros are going to love Brian Robinson more than Dameon Pierce. Pierce is a bizarre prospect, man. The production from a per touch basis and a per snap basis is like absolutely insane. I forget what the broken tackle rate is and all that. It's just absolutely insane. It's just, you also do have to take into account the fact that there's basically no production. He really didn't do anything in his entire college career. However, what he put on tape and the snaps that he did put out there are like fucking insane. And so it's a very, very tricky situation for sure. Tolbert, I'm a big Tolbert guy. If you haven't seen, I'm just gonna take Jalen Tolbert. If you haven't seen I did not expect that Matt Ryan would be here. God, what a dusty draft pick, Matt Ryan. But I mean, 19th round Matt Ryan is pretty crazy to me. Assuredly going to be starting quarterback in the NFL next year. Has Kyle Pitts, maybe Calvin Ridley. We'll see what happens. But I'm comfortable with Matt Ryan at pick 217. I'm comfortable with that, as opposed to taking the dive on Sam. I'm very high Sam Howell as one of the rookies. If you prefer Matt Corral or I think was Willis already gone? Yeah. Whatever your flavor of rookie quarterback is. I think I prefer Matt Ryan. Yeah, I like this take. I don't think Brian Robinson is going to be like a difference maker in the NFL or anything, but the NFL values production as they should. The NFL values guys that Nick Saban trusts. The NFL values guys that Nick Saban puts into an absolute workhorse role, and that was Brian Robinson. The NFL is going to be a little skeptical of Dameon Pierce, who can't even get on the field the majority of the time for Florida. So I like Dameon Pierce. Like I said, I think I have them right next to each other in my rookie rankings. Excuse me. Travis asked, does top 3 advancing change anything strategy-wise? More fragile. If we were totally optimizing, I do think it would probably change a little bit strategy-wise. And to your point, it is a little bit more fragile. I would be more willing to take just 2 quarterbacks, just 2 tight ends, which I'm obviously only going to take 2 tight ends here. I am going to take 3 quarterbacks. But I did go a little bit running back heavy early. And so that kind of opened up that flexibility. But I just think we're drafting, let's seriously take a step back really quick. We're drafting 2022 fantasy football drafts in late January, early February. Early February. And it's what Silas said, it was double-digit percentage filled, 11% filled, 12% filled already. Like, the thing is going to fill fairly quickly. And so I'm just going to continue to construct teams in a way that makes sense based on the draft that I'm doing, and not focus too like when basketball mania season gets here, you want to start talking about fragility and all that kind of stuff. I'm definitely going to, but I'm not going to overanalyze that situation in an environment where we don't even know what team these players are going to be playing on. You know what I mean? So I firmly believe in, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Right? That's what I believe in, like, almost above all else from a strategy perspective. And so that's kind of where I'm just leaning into that. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and debate Dameon Pierce versus Brian Robinson pass pro, but I will debate college production. And so Brevin Jordan is around, but I'm going to take who took Kylan Granson? All right, I'm going to have to take Brevin Jordan. So again, another thing you will see in my rankings. I can't do one of these without getting extremely annoyed with whoever is taking my guy. Every goddamn time, every time. So anyway, it's been ruined now. But my favorite late round tight end is Kylan Granson as it stands right now, which I guess I was in on Mo Alley Cox last year. So this is back-to-back years of being in on the Colts potential tight end. And Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox are both free agents. Kylan Granson was a fairly high draft pick and a decent prospect for the Colts last year. Took his rookie year to learn the league and learn the position. And now we have an offense with tons of targets up for grabs, a talented kid that they've invested in. I don't really understand why he goes so late compared to a lot of the other tight ends that are in the player pool. So that got ruined. I was very excited for him to click him and log off Kylan Granson season. But alas, didn't get as triggered as when Silas sniped me on Daniel Jones. So that's good. I'm growing as a human, I guess. But this was a lot of fun. If you have been following, had to reschedule the Best Ball Bros episode for this week. It will be with Justin Herzig. We're trying to figure out a time to reschedule. He is unfortunately under the weather today. Hope Justin gets better. But we will be rescheduling the next episode of Best Ball Bros. Hope you have enjoyed those. I have really enjoyed those. So selfishly, I'm going to keep doing them. We have got to talk to Liam Murphy at Chess Liam, who won Best Ball Mania 2. Got to talk to Tony Castro, longtime friend, high school friend of mine that won the DraftKings Millionaire Maker from Best Ball. And we got to talk to Peter Overzet, Best Ball influencer. And we'll soon be talking to Justin Herzig and tons of other people across this entire space. Hopefully you have enjoyed those. Subscribe to the YouTube to get, the same old bullshit spiel that everybody gives about why you should subscribe. But I really do believe that the episodes are really good. Every Friday, moving forward for the rest of eternity, we'll be doing these best ball drafts. This was a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about all these players and all these prospects and all these strategies and everything every week moving forward. You guys rock. This was an absolute blast. Like and subscribe. And I will catch you guys. We'll be back on Monday. Maybe we'll do some lessons learned from the Pro Bowl. What can we learn from the Pro Bowl? No, we'll probably do it from ADP changes. We'll have some fun, talk about some things that we've learned and some of these strategies on Monday. I'll see you guys then. Have a good weekend. Later.